Welcome, sea anemones
Close
to
enough.
Geek Salad's retro movie reviews from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy,
And I'm Mike.
and it's not a movie review if we don't have our good friend Nick from the Black Girls Do Stuff 2 podcast joining us.
Hi.
First time in 2021, Nick, we got you on. I'm so thrilled.
And it's for like literally one of my favorite movies ever. So I'm super
good.
excited.
See, Nick, I have a confession. I had to bring you in with this one because my positivity will not be enough for this. I am not the negative one. Mike here is not a fan of Finding Nemo.
I mean, it's still a good movie. It's just, it's nowhere near my top 10 Pixar movies.
Okay.
It's actually probably
Nick
close to the
and I
bottom.
have to use our Wonder Twin powers here.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah.
Let's see what I can do. Let's see if I can send some brain waves.
Exactly. Let's just be upfront. We're not changing his mind about it, but let's just make this fun. Fair?
Fair.
So, before we begin, for those of you who are not familiar with Nick's work, Nick, tell us what you do.
Yeah, so I am a part of a duo, Black Girls Do Stuff 2, and we talk about pretty much pop culture, some lifestyle stuff. Like we've had an episode on brunch, we've had an episode on friendships, but we really stick to like TV, movies, some comic stuff, and anything like pop culture news. That's enough for us to talk about. Currently, we are doing the MCU and Originals rewatch, so it's my first time watching the Originals. So if you're interested in any of those things, definitely tune in.
Please, it is a great podcast. And yes, Kurt,
Thank you.
Mike does not like. Well,
I like Finding Nemo. It's just there are lots of things about it I don't like, and that keeps it from being anywhere near my top 10.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. So definitely check out Nick's podcast. It is fantastic. She also has a cooking blog. So yes, so we'll get into the kind of the stuff that she's going to promote at the end of the show. But definitely check out her cooking blog too. There's a lot of good stuff on there. I'm trying to recall. Are you still doing a lot of keto?
So I'm more low carb. The reason I don't really do keto is I don't focus on the high fat part. And I also don't believe in cutting out full food groups. So I still eat beans and I still eat like bananas and stuff like that. But I focus on low carb. So a lot of my recipes are keto friendly.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Great. That was my mistake. I've never actually done a keto diet. So I've never done any diet.
Affected, don't do it. Like, I mean, honestly, it's for people who are like carb sensitive. If you can avoid that, then please eat your bread for me.
I love bagels, so I have to.
Yeah, it was just pretty much today that I learned that a keto diet didn't mean like a keto, like martial arts.
Hey, I love meat as much as the next person, but every once in a while you got to throw a bun on that burger. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about Finding Nemo. Which is what you tapped on when you said, "Hey, look, a review about Finding Nemo." So, Nick, I'll start with you. When was the first time you saw Finding Nemo?
I don't remember. I know I was in high school because my car that I got at the time, I might have been in college. When did Finding Nemo come out? I might have been in college.
2003.
Okay, so I was in high school, and I loved the movie so much that all my friends got me like things for my car that were Finding Nemo themed. So I might have seen it in a theater, or I saw it right when it came out on like pay-per-view or something like that.
Okay, cool. Mike, how about you?
Probably one of the times I flew out and visited Jana, and I believe she showed it to me first.
Okay, all right. This, I think, was the movie I saw more times than any other movie in the theater in the summer of 2003. I know my wife and I saw this 4 times in the theater together, and I think I saw it like another 2 times with other people. Mm-hmm. We weren't married yet. We had just gotten engaged, and it was like we went to go see it, and we really loved the movie. And then there was like one night we had gone out to dinner with friends, and it was like it was late, but it wasn't too late, and we were near a movie theater. It's like, what are you on to do? Well, let's just take the movie times. Oh, let's go see Finding Nemo again. So we went to like an 11 o'clock showing, and I remember this because there were freaking kids in the theater at 11 p.m. We saw this in Prince Edward Island at a drive-in on a double bill with Pirates of the Caribbean. Which, nice by the way, Nick, you hosted that episode too.
I was here. I was there, guys.
Check that one out. And we actually went. Yeah, we went to go see that movie when they re-released it in 3D with my daughter. It was one of the first movies we took her to, and it was like we kind of gave her a special day because that was the day we were telling her that we were having another kid. Oh, let's see what does Kurt say here. I may be the only one who was in the target demographic when it came out. I was in the 5th grade, I believe. Maybe. I feel at this point, Pixar had moved away from just being like kids movies. I think they were really moving towards that. They were family movies instead of just being kids movies that parents had to take their kids to.
Yeah, I think they switched into like more kid-friendly movies.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, you could easily deem the first 2 Toy Story movies and Bug's Life as being, like more kids movies than grown-up movies. I think Monsters Inc. started to dip its toe in there.
Except for how the grasshopper died at the end of Bug's Life. Well, that's straight up nightmare fuel right there.
We all watched Mufasa die, okay? So
that's true. And I saw that in like 5th grade. And Lion King actually got banned from my elementary school because Mufasa got murdered. So we weren't allowed to watch it in school.
But it's literature. It's Hamlet.
Yeah. They were like, nope, it's a murder. We're not watching it.
It's downright Shakespearean.
Yes, it is. I gotta say, this is one of the most. I wouldn't call it the best voice cast because we're a ways away from what I think the best voice cast is. But this is some inspired casting. Albert. I've always been a fan of Albert Brooks. If you've never seen his live action movies, if you want to call it that, he's done some phenomenal stuff. Lost in America, Modern Life, are really fun movies. I can't believe this is the movie that reinvigorated Ellen DeGeneres' career.
Yeah.
I mean, Dory is so lovable though. Like, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know if there was a person on the planet who was more excited when like Finding Dory got announced than I was. Like, I was so excited because I love this movie so much and I love Dory. But yeah, I remember like her being that character. And now when I think of Dory, I'm like, I really couldn't hear anyone else playing her part. The way that she brought her to life. I really couldn't hear it any other way.
Yeah. How about Mike? What are your thoughts? Let's uncage this beast right now.
Well, I mean, just for one moment. Also, speaking of voice cast, Willem Dafoe.
Yes.
As Gil. I really like Gil. I think he's an excellent character, and I think Willem Dafoe does a great job.
Everybody in that fish tank.
Oh yeah.
Is fantastic casting. I love Allison Janney as Starfish. Happy place, find a happy place. Okay, not Ray Romano, his brother.
Brad Garrett.
Huh?
Brad Garrett.
Yeah. As Bloat. Austin Pendleton, who, by the way, Austin Pendleton, Mike, was Doc Hopper's assistant in the Muppet movie.
Oh wow! Stephen Root was Bubbles.
Yep. To this day, I don't know if either of you two do this, but I see a lot of Bubbles like Bubbles.
Yeah, Bubbles. You have to. It's like like a rite of passage of seeing Finding Nemo is to make random like callbacks to the movie.
Well, whenever I make a mistake, I'm like that little crab. I'm like, I'm ashamed.
All right. But okay, so yeah, why this one doesn't really hit my top 10? It's a couple. I mean, this is a movie where every time I watch it, I keep noticing something else that knocks it a little bit further down. So this movie kind of every time I watch it, it gets worse a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But Kurt Smith, I'm in the same boat as Andy. I say I'm ashamed a lot. But for me, I think it all boils down to Marlin. Because technically speaking, Marlin is the main character of this movie. And he is quite thoroughly unlikable for 98% of this movie.
But that's a journey.
But,
right?
but that's the thing. It's like, I mean, he learns lessons. He learns lessons. He ignores the lesson until the last literally 5 minutes of the movie, and then he does a complete 180. I mean, he for like 90%, 99.8% of this movie, he's like unfunny. He's neurotic. He's overprotective. He's really kind of a stick in the mud. And in the last 2 minutes, he can tell fantastic jokes. He's the life of the party. He's like, whoa. I mean, you talk about like Anakin Skywalker being on the freight, the freight elevator to the dark side. He just suddenly just shot right up. It's like, I don't know. I mean, that must have been one hell of a journey because he is completely different from where he was before. I mean, 180 degrees.
It was a journey because you got to think about it. Like the whole time he's in pursuit of his son, right? Like, and I'm not even trying to change your mind. This is how like I view it. It's like he's in pursuit of his son. So like as he's on the journey, he's focused, right? He has to be who he is to find his son. And once he gets there, he can like retrospectively like look back at everything that he did to get there, and like he sees his son is fine, and he's been through all these things. It's like, you know what? What was I being like that for? Like, let's go. Like, life's too short. Let's have a good time. Touch the butt. Touch the butt if you want to touch the butt.
But I mean, he learns the lesson. He's got to be trusting. And then 5 seconds later, Dory's like, I can talk to Rose. No, you don't. You're an idiot. What did you just learn? You're just completely ignoring everything.
I think Marlin lets his guard down a lot where he doesn't want to admit that he's enjoying the ride. He's having a good time. But I think that in the belly of the whale is their realization, or his realization, that he is overprotective when he essentially substitutes Dory for Nemo with that, that whole thing about the talking whale. It's like, you think you can do all these things, but you can't, Nemo.
Mm-hmm.
And he realizes that. And then it follows up with how do you know nothing's bad's going to happen? And Dory just says, I don't. And she just drops into the whale's belly because he's going to blow them out. And that's what changes him. And
he's still an asshole after that too.
Okay, now that is just a character part of him. Like, that's not the lesson learning. That's just who he is. That's just Marlin the clownfish who's unfunny.
But he's not. But then in the last 2 minutes, he's telling a great joke that everybody's laughing at. It's like, where the hell did that come from?
Well, because I think he's realized that of the magnitude of this journey that he's made, and the character of Marlin realistically is Albert Brooks. Every Albert Brooks character you've ever seen, with the exception of when he was in what was that movie with Ryan Gosling as Driver?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the one that woman sued because she thought it was going to be Fast and Furious. Albert Brooks. Nobody does neuroses better than Albert Brooks. I don't know if you've ever seen
except for maybe Woody Allen.
Broadcast News. In Broadcast News, he plays just a guy who works in the newsroom, and due to circumstances, he ends up having to anchor the evening news. And the second he sits down and the light comes on the camera and he is live to deliver the news, he begins sweating. Like, a lot. It's just Albert Brooks being Albert Brooks. Yeah. He is just that kind of character. But the whole joke about that he sweat through the entire reading of the news. That's Marlin. If Marlin could sweat, if he wasn't immersed in water, then he would be that character, and it fits really well. And I'll give you this, Mike. The neuroses can get a little overbearing at times, but I do love the juxtaposition between his neuroses and Dory's naivete.
I just would have liked to see more of a gradual, change in him, a more gradual switch, and something he was just same, dumb.
I mean, I can agree with that. It was sudden, and there weren't levels to it, I don't think.
Right.
They were like very shallow levels, right? And then there was like a very steep jump. So I can agree with that. But I think what I like about it, especially growing up with someone who had very protective parents, I could relate in a lot of ways to like that whole dynamic. It's like, I love my parents, right? But like, I want some freedom. And then at the same time, trying to flip it from the parents' perspective, it's like, I really just want to protect you. And the best way that I know how to do that is to be overbearing, right? And so there were lessons for everybody to learn. Maybe you don't need to go be so free and be so like willing to just risk it all like Nemo was, which is what got him kidnapped in the first place. And then from the other side, maybe Nemo wouldn't have felt the need to do that had he had a little bit more freedom in the first place. So like for me, it's a very personal story. I'm not a fish. I don't live in the ocean, but I definitely know that I've tested the limits and learned my lesson as well with parents who are very overprotective.
Yeah. And I kind of feel that way too. Kind of speaking as the lone parent in the group here, that there are times when I can hear Marlin's voice in my head especially with my son, because my son essentially needs bumpers around everything because he just runs, and you've seen him, Mike. He runs headlong into everything, and thanks to the quarantine, he's turning feral. I mean, literally just running around in his underwear, just like making his little monkey things. And I'm like, oh my god, this kid needs to socialize. And it's just like I keep telling him, no, you can't do that, And I feel like Marlin in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, taking Marlin out of the equation, Dory is fantastic. Nemo is fantastic. The fish in the tank are fantastic. Bruce and the other sharks.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
In the same summer that we got the Hulk, Eric Bana voiced one of those sharks.
Give me 1 second. Now the cats want to decide they want to go out.
All right, take your camera out. We will continue this conversation. I'm not left alone, which is very, very nice. So Nick, let me ask you, what is your favorite kind of like fish gag?
It's this super cute, like, so there's two. One is the little, I guess she's supposed to be a little octopus, I think. I really don't know.
Oh, yes. Yeah, she's like a little mini octopus.
She's like, you made me geek. And so, like, that's so cute to me. It's the funniest thing. And then the other one is not a fish, he's a turtle, but it's just like the vibe, like the Surfer Dude vibes that they gave to like Squirt and his dad. And, just that, oh dude, like really gnarly, like whatever. Like that was just so cute. Like it's the cute ones for me that like really do it. And the seagulls, which also aren't fish, but the mine.
Yeah.
Mine. So that's what I quote. That's what we quote in our house the most.
Yeah.
It's the mine thing. When there's something that everybody wants, that's what everyone starts saying. So
when we went to Disney World, right on the cusp of the release of Finding Dory, it was like Epcot was nothing but Finding Dory stuff. And they had like the little stuffed seagulls, but they also had this mug that my wife bought. So it's got like the seagulls on the reef, just mine. And then after you drink your coffee, on the very bottom, there's just one more in there. That's what mine.
That's so. I want that cup.
Oh, I think you could buy that on Shop Disney.
Really? Okay.
You may still be able to get that. If I find the link, I will send it to you.
Yeah.
I think honestly, my favorite gag is the School of Fish.
Oh yes, that's so good. Like when they're like going back and forth. Yeah, I like that. I like the first School of Fish, the little kids School of Fish.
No. I'm talking about. Hey, lady, you like impressions?
Yeah, that one. Okay.
Yeah, that's the gag.
Yeah.
And Kurt here has got such an Easter egg. Bruce's name is a Jaws reference. They named after the mechanical shark Bruce, after Spielberg's lawyer. Yes. I picked up on that one pretty quickly. But I love the Australian accent, and I love the fact that he's voiced by Dame Edna.
Oh, dolphins, eh? So nice.
Oh yeah, look at me, I'm a little dolphin. But the School of Fish gag, first of all, it's your Ratzenberger cameo. And I love the thing that you can't tell who's talking because it's just this voice amongst all of these fish.
Mm-hmm.
But when they ask about the impressions, they do what most entertainers do. They just and all of the fish at the same time. Which I love that. And this, they do the opera house, they do the swordfish, and Dory is completely oblivious to all of them.
I love Dory so much. She's so pure, and this is before you even see the second movie, which I love, but before you even see Finding Dory, you get to see just Dory for who she is, and she's so pure, and we don't know her background. We don't know why she's super forgetful. We don't know anything about that, but we do know that she's just a really caring person, and she's trying really hard the entire movie to just please Marlin, which is it sucks how he treats her sometimes, but at the end they come together, which is nice.
Well, part of her design too, that smile that they've kind of built into her design, it's infectious because she's always smiling, and it's weird when she doesn't smile. Like that one thing with the crabs.
Exactly. Yeah.
We saw him, and there's nothing you could do to make us tell you where he went, and just mine.
Okay, I told you.
And you know what? Another great gag, and this was just kind of when they're doing the montage of Marlin's journey. The lobsters were from Boston, which for Mike and I, that's just such an in joke.
I know.
We get pie.
I was kind of offended they didn't give the crabs a DC Maryland accent or even a Baltimore accent. You know what I mean? I know that's out of the way, but I feel like if you're in Boston, you can hit DC along the way.
Is there an identifiable DC/Maryland accent?
So there's a very distinct DC accent and there's a very distinct Baltimore accent. And when you think crabs, you would probably do Baltimore instead of DC. But yeah, Baltimore has that accent. I even just kind of did it. Baltimore. Baltimore. And then hot dog. So you say hot dog, you say chew, do. So it's those sort of things, yeah.
Yeah, I bet you one of those lobsters was named Sully, eh?
Yeah.
Do you guys know of any real life Sullys?
What's that?
Do you guys know any real life Sullys?
I know
not
one guy whose nickname is Sully. He doesn't we live about an hour outside of Boston, so we don't know the actual hey Sullys. I know Sullivans that go by Sully. Okay. Because you could just throw a rock in this area and hit 3 Sullivans along the way. But yeah, no, the Sully. Anytime I make a joke, especially on Twitter, and I refer to them as Sullys, it's like the Boston Sullivans. Hey Sully, get over here, Sully. I just got a case of Sam Adams at the Packy, Sully.
And we head down to Southie and pick up some coolers.
And as evidenced from our last podcast, which I know Kurt will attest to this, nobody hates Boston people more than people from Massachusetts. Holy hell. We tore into Mark Wahlberg and his lesser brother Donnie just like a hot knife through butter.
But that's funny because I personally, as you guys know, love the Boston accent. And like when it got voted like the best accent, everybody was like, "Who voted for that?" And I was like, "Maybe it was me. Did I feel like it might have been me?" So when I spent that like 4 days there, I was just like walking around Boston, listening to the sounds of the city like I was Belle in Beauty and the Beast. It was crazy.
Can confirm. I don't know. It's just like anytime I hear that accent, I've spent more than my fair share of time at Fenway Park, and just like, oh man, they should just really fucking bring Noma back, because Noma.
Yeah, I've walked plenty of times around Harvard Yard.
I'm gonna hold my nose, but I still hope Brady wins another Super Bowl.
Can you guys make a Pixar movie of just this?
Lord.
Make that Pixar movie?
No, we don't have nearly the big budget for that.
I was talking to our friend Thomas from the Movies After Work podcast, and I'm just like, we just need to know an animator. We put together a short film called the big blockbuster studio executive and you. How the director you hate didn't really sneak in the middle and the dark of night and ruin your precious movie franchise. But I would do it animated and like that really stilted, like those Disney shorts they show in front of these things, and I'd have like that like dream of the future type of music, like in the underscore, like now you want to see that. Is what I'm saying, and
I do.
But,
I just need to know an animator to do.
But back to Finding Nemo.
Yes, back to the other animated movie we're talking about here.
And actually, kind of on what you just said, another thing I watched it yesterday, and something that kind of stood out as something that I was like, oh, that's not that great. The music. The music is definitely not the most noticeable thing about this, and it's very understated.
How dare you?
I have an example. When Nemo reunites with Marlin.
Yeah.
It's like the music in the back. Listen to the music in the background. Just pull up a clip of that, and just like it sounds like a French horn that's slowly building a crescendo, or just one lone French horn, and then the crescendo happens like 5 minutes after Nemo and Marlin reunite, and there's like the French horn just kind of dies out. It's like, oh, I missed it. Oh well, whatever. There's a better music crescendo when Dory finds Nemo than there is when Marlin finds Nemo. It's like even the music was like, yeah, nobody cares about this guy anymore. We all care about Dory and Marlin and Nemo.
All right. Hard stop disagree on that. I love
Thought you would.
This is a Thomas Newman score.
Yes, it is.
I love it because I love Thomas Newman's work in general. And it's not so much like these big moments. It's the quiet moments. It all comes back like in the end credits. It's just it just feels like aquatic music. And without sounding like special effectsy, it's very laid back, a lot of piano, very similar to the stuff he did for American Beauty.
Well, I've never seen American Beauty, but I was hoping for something. I mean, it just the music never seemed to fit what was going on screen. It was always very understated and very like almost quiet. And there's like for these big, huge moments that it's been building to, I wanted something. I wanted a swell. I wanted a surge of music, and I got a whoa, 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 whoa.
Like a whale song, Mike. It's like whale song.
Probably right when it comes to music. Like, it's not one of my favorites, but I don't dislike it as much as Mike. But I will say that there are moments where I wish it was a little bit more. But like parts that I really enjoy, like I like the kind of bubbly music in the background that's almost adventurous when he's like telling his story about like, oh, I saw this and I saw this and blah, blah, blah. He's telling the story. He's like, wow, you really did? Like, so like that's cute. But I feel like in terms of Pixar movies, and I'm trying to rack my brain for all of them before I make this statement, but I feel like this movie is very like dialogue driven. And so like with some of the other movies, I think that you get a lot, the music helps to tell the story Where in this movie, it's the music doesn't do that as much, if that makes sense. So like,
yeah, I
know,
I can see that, and I feel like when you move on to the next movie, which is The Incredibles, which by the way we've already covered. You can check out our review for that, so we will not be covering that next. Then you get into the Michael Giacchino, who I think has done the majority. I think between him and Randy Newman, they've both done the majority of the Pixar scores. And Michael Giacchino's got a lot more bombast in his music than like Thomas Newman. Thomas Newman is a very minimalist composer. They gave him a Bond score, for Christ's sake, and he really made it minimalist.
But I mean,
Skyfall, by the way, if you're wondering.
I actually just looked it up, and the next movie that Thomas Newman scores is WALL-E. I see that. I mean, first half of that movie beautiful. Is almost completely silent, so that it fits that very low key, very quiet music score. This one, there's so many action beats in this one that I wanted more. I wanted to make something like a Michael Giacchino, and I didn't get it, and it threw me off a little bit.
Right. And again, that's we get that in the next movie when we get The Incredibles, and we get essentially the pseudo Bond score.
Yeah.
So
that soundtrack too.
I love The Incredibles. I really feel
The Elastic song is like, that's my jam. Like I just listen on like a regular basis. That's my
what the funny thing is, you want to talk about music. At the very end, Robbie Williams does Beyond the Sea.
Yeah.
And we're listening to it because it was just like, because they give you stuff to look at. This is the first movie without the bloopers. Which Mike and I talked about last week, and chaps my ass to get rid of those. But they
can you imagine? Can you imagine some of the bloopers that they did with Ratzenberger in the Fish School of Fish?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But they but then Robbie Williams does Beyond the Sea. I'm like, oh, that's Robbie Williams. My wife's like, who the hell is Robbie Williams? I'm like, you see, that's the problem. Robbie Williams at the time was the biggest recording artist in the world. Everywhere except for here, so he may as well just not even exist. So I essentially have the Robbie Williams theory that you could be a very popular musician and have number one songs throughout the world, but you will not be famous in America.
I mean, yeah, that's 100. I can name a couple artists who were like that even before they blew up here. Like they were popular for a very long time.
Yeah,
outside the U.S. before they ever blew up here. So that's very true.
But it was just like, it's just got my mind going. It's like, oh, why do I know Robbie Williams, but nobody else does?
Maybe you live in an alternate timeline.
I'm just very worldly.
No, you're very British.
Yeah, exactly. Born in the wrong country. But yeah, no, I really enjoy this movie. I'm in a way though, I can agree with Mike on one thing, that as I get older, I feel like I don't love this movie as much as I used to. And that could be a combination of Pixar's put out some pretty good stuff recently in the last 10 years. And like their attitude has changed, but how they make movies and what the stories that they're telling now. And, I always bring it up. There's always a Cars movie in between the next era of Pixar filmmaking.
There won't be a Cars 4 or so.
So we're just going to stay on this track then, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
It's car track.
I don't know. I don't know if it'll come with time, but as of now, in my age, I still love the movie. I think that, and I'm sure like the dynamic kind of changes too. Like you said, you can see yourself a lot in Marlon and things like that in some cases with like your kids and stuff. So I'm sure like the dynamic changes, but I don't know. It's something very special with me about this movie. The only thing that has ever made me question my love for this movie was the thing I tweeted about a couple weeks ago somebody on TikTok just kind of did some like research on the actual fish, and they were like, piranhas don't actually eat clownfish, but clownfish can be cannibalistic, and so the wife may have very well eaten all the kids. And Nemo sees no one, and so he was finding no one, and everything was a figment of his imagination. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm losing it, like I'm losing it. And so then in that case, I was like, you know, maybe that's a movie I need to explore. So I have not actually watched it since I read that theory, but I was like, you know, that's a whole different story right there. Maybe that will make Mike love it once he sees that it's all like crazy and creative.
That is almost as good of a theory as the one I have about Grease, how the whole thing takes place in Sandy's mind as she's dying from oxygen depravity because she's drowning. And he's too much of a meathead who's probably, he doesn't know any CPR, and he's probably still trying to cop a feel with essentially a dead body.
No.
And it explains the flying car at the end. Yes, Mike.
Sandy is the girl that gets killed in the beginning of Jaws.
Oh.
It's a combined universe.
And that shark's name is Bruce.
And we're back in Finding Nemo, please.
See, boom. We got this covered, yo.
For anybody watching, Finding Nemo, Grease, and Jaws are all connected. If you missed it, like
congratulations, yeah, you have to go back and rewind it now.
Exactly.
I know it's crazy, isn't it?
We're through the working class people.
You're all being fed lies. Now, let me ask you another question here, and this is just more of a real world question. After you saw Finding Nemo, have you seen a live clownfish or a blue tang?
Both, yes.
In the wild, if you will, at an aquarium or whatever. Or?
So not in the wild, if you mean the ocean, because I don't get in that. But
no.
but like in a tank, yes, I have actually.
Yeah.
There's a restaurant in Raleigh, if it's still there, but it's called Cowfish. And they do burgers and sushi, and they have like a huge tank like in the middle of the restaurant, and they had both. So that's where I saw it.
I think after a matinee viewing of Finding Nemo, because it was around the same time, Autumn and I went to the Rainforest Cafe, and they have an aquarium, and I'm like, oh man, I don't think I'd ever seen a clownfish like up close in my life. And then immediately after that comes a blue tang, and I'm like, oh. And then the aquarium at Epcot is insane. It is quite honestly the best aquarium I've ever been to in my life. And they have like these pillar tanks filled with clownfish and blue tangs and a couple of the other fish that were in the tank. I didn't see any pufferfish. Nor did I really think I saw any starfish, but I saw the bubbles fish.
Oh, yellow. Yeah, it's not a yellow tang.
It might be a yellow tang. I don't know. And the curse you walk with scum fish. I saw one of those too.
Who I think
who
I think actually is called a Dory.
Is it?
I don't know.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Here's the rabbit hole.
Yeah, but one more thing I do love about from the tank gang.
Yep.
Is what was her name? It was Deb. Vicki Lewis is Deb.
Yes.
Get out of the way, Flo.
Yeah.
and here's my twin sister, Flo. She's a little nuts.
And you know that's the kind of thing that there's scientific research that's done about fish that kind of befriend their reflection. There absolutely has to be. That's just like, I don't think that like DreamWorks would have ever come up with something like that for Shark's Tale because they were lazy. Whereas, with Finding Nemo, somebody who was in charge of designing Deb had to like learn all this stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, this type of fish really like takes to its reflection and kind of adopts it as its own.
Can we also talk about like the niece? Was her name Darcy?
Darla.
No.
Darla. Like, like I felt so bad for those fish. Like everything that they would go through just to avoid Darla. And the fact that the dentist was still giving his niece fish, like time after time, like he's going into the ocean and finding these rare fish, murdering them by giving them to his niece. And I still feel a way about her. Like I would like to see an update on her life. Like, does she feel? How has she responded since being attacked by a fish?
Maybe she pulled a Sid from Toy Story 3.
Right.
Oh, is she like cleaning like fish tanks or something like that? Or
yeah, maybe.
It would be interesting. Darla, that's some good old fashioned nightmare fuel. The thank you, Kurt. The psycho music.
Yes.
She just punches the door in. It's like.
I did like how she got her comeuppance with the. She was like looking down the sink.
Yeah.
And just sprayed her right in the face.
You know what? Honestly, if this would be a really cool side project that Disney Plus could do, just call it Pixar University, where like all of the kids from these Pixar movies are essentially in college together.
I would love it.
And
Boo would be the nicest, most well-adjusted one.
Right, exactly. We've talked about that before too. At least I've mentioned that too. Is that would have been the ultimate cutscene in Monsters University, where they close the movie with Sully telling a college-aged Boo about his college experience, and then he goes into the closet and she's like, "Bye, kitty," and then Andy opens the door and says, "Hi, I'm your RA. Can I take you around the dorm?"
I'll tell you about all my childhood toys
that I gave away.
Oh, don't talk about it.
I gave them all away.
You guys know it's still fresh for me. I just watched it for the first time.
Oh God.
That is an emotional gut punch of a movie, isn't it?
It is.
That's going to be a tough one, and we've never reviewed that one, so that will be coming up at some point. Sooner rather than later, I think. Right?
I haven't seen that movie since I saw it in theaters, primarily because that ending is just such a hard one for me to go through.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So after this would be Cars. We've already done The Incredibles. We've already done Ratatouille. It would be Cars, WALL-E, Up, and then Toy Story. So we're like 4 away.
Well, maybe. Well, because we don't know if we're going to be doing something else in between.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there's 4 Pixar movies in between us and me bawling incoherently.
There we go.
Damn it! Now I'm gonna cry. Yeah, exactly, Kurt. It's just all you have to do is talk about Toy Story 3, and you're like
that ending.
Like no one warned me. I was just, but I cry in Nemo too. So I mean, to be fair, I cry at like everything that I watch.
Oh, I get emotional from movies too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I definitely cry in Finding Nemo. Like when he yells at Dory, he's like, "You think you can do these things, but you can't, Nemo." And I was like, "It's not Nemo." Like, it's right on there. When he got kidnapped, I cried.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny that we're saying like a fish gets kidnapped. Like when he gets kidnapped and when they get reunited, pretty much like the whole time.
I really kind of feel like I used to be like that with the very end when everything is kind of back to normal and Nemo's going back to school and he floats off with this school and then he swims back and says, "I love you, Dad," and then swims back and he's like, "Love you too, son," and then watching him go, float away. I used to get like really choked up with that, but I got over that. And so then at Disney, because every time we go to Animal Kingdom, I have to go see Finding Nemo the musical. And now
because it is really good too.
With fish puppets do that, and it's just back to there's right in your gut. Start crying, boy.
That's a really good musical too.
It is It is deceptively good. If you haven't, Nick, it's
I
like
haven't been to Animal
the
Kingdom.
soundtrack and be like, this is a joke, right? But
I gave Andy a copy of the soundtrack before he'd seen the play, and he was like, "Oh, that's all right, whatever." And then you saw the play.
Yeah, exactly. Automatic's like, we didn't have the kids with us at the time. Like, call mom. See how the kids are doing. Yeah, it is. It's so good. It's so much better than it just your expectations will ever be. You will never think that. And I don't know anybody who's been like, it's okay. Do we have any other thoughts on Finding Nemo? I kind of feel like we've kind of like gone all over the place here. By the way, my wife loves Crush. I think that may be character.
Crush. I couldn't think of his name. Yes.
Crush. Yep.
Voiced by producer Andrew Stanton.
You mean the director Andrew Stanton?
Oh wait, did he direct this one?
Yes, he did.
Oh yeah, I was thinking Pete Best.
Pete Docter. Yeah, Pete Docter did
Monsters Inc.
covered last week. Also, interesting trivia. This is the first Pixar movie to win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars.
Yeah, because I think this is the first year they had Best Animated Feature.
Nope.
No?
First year they had it was the year Monsters Inc. lost to Shrek. Yeah. Then the next year,
I like Shrek. I think I like Monsters Inc. more.
2002, there was no Pixar movie. In fact, Spirited Away won that year.
And that rightfully so.
Yeah. And then this just kind of started the age of the Pixar dominance.
Yeah.
Which again only interrupted by Cars movies.
Cars did not win Best Animated.
No, it did not. It did not.
Nor did Cars 2, surprisingly enough.
Cars 2 was even nominated. Do you know what beat Cars, by the way, Mike? Can you name the movie? Don't look it up.
No, I didn't look it up. Was 2004?
2005.
2005.
2005. No, I'm sorry. 06. I'm sorry. Do you know the movie that caused the creation of that category? Oh, why do I want to say I know this, but I really don't? Oh, yeah, Chicken Run.
Chicken Run? Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
The Chicken Run, Mike.
I was thinking about chicken. For some reason, I thought Chicken Little.
Oh God, no! Oh
yeah.
No!
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait, what? Chicken Run? No, wait. Yeah.
The fun thing about Chicken Run has nothing to do with the movie, but apparently, I think it was California Adventure. They did like this Chicken Little float, like this big balloon. But it had been released been put out so long after the movie had been released that the video I was watching was like, and things that should have not been forgotten had faded into myth. I was gonna go with Tron. Tron was 82. Winner, chicken. Did I see what you did there, Tom?
But no, I can't. I think. What? What was that?
I said I'm on the edge of my seat. What was it?
Yeah, I can't remember what beat out Cars.
I thought Nick almost said it. It was Happy Feet.
Oh.
Falling out of my seat with my happy feet.
I know. Oh, I love Happy Feet, and I love penguins. So like, I extra love Happy Feet.
Yeah, it was kind of like the kickoff of the craze of doing animated dancing penguin movies.
Yeah, there were like 5 of those.
5 Happy Feet or 5 different?
No, just 5. Like it just seems like there was a time when every movie that they would make, and this is also because of March of the Penguins, they would come out with these movies where the penguins just dance, like Surf's Up. Which, yeah, and Nick's like, yeah, no. I almost thought just like Surf's Up was a trigger where she's just like. Your head like dropped, like I just put you to sleep. So
No.
the worst was it causing the making of Surf's Up. Are you going to talk about the Surf's Up with the WWE superstars, Tom? And if I get another winter chicken dinner here, I'm going to be really psyched. Yeah. So Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
I enjoy this movie. I'm happy it's there. I'm happy, Mike. I am happy that you do find some good. I was expecting like this full negative fest, which
I don't know.
if we do Cars next week, trust me, I am not going to be nearly as kind because I'm going to have to sit down and watch that movie. No, the Shia LaBeouf animated. The beef.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think that your criticism of Finding Nemo is very fair, especially because you both have such a love for Pixar in general that it wouldn't make. I mean, it's something that somebody loves isn't gonna make it to the top, right? Where me, I'm like very selective on the Pixar that I like. Like when they say Disney Pixar, I really just want the Disney part. I don't care about the Pixar part unless it's a very specific movie. Like there are some movies I just love, and then there's others where some of them that you've named I've not even seen. I only saw Toy Story like recently because I wasn't interested, you know. So I think your criticism is for sure fair, and you didn't trash it, and I understand. You know, Marlon, he's a difficult character. He's a negative Nancy, but he means well.
Yeah, he does. Unlike Kurt, Larry the Cable Guy, I swear to God, I see those Prilosec ads that he does, and I'm praying he's got gambling debts. It's tough. It is really, really tough because, you know, again, you know, I'm just this high-heeled elite, East Coast, left coaster here. Actually, yeah. Oh, good Lord. Okay, never mind. I'm mixing up my metaphors. That means it's probably getting late. So, well, Nick. I am so happy to have you back for this one.
Thank you.
Thomas is in the comments here, and I'm like, yeah, get him back in here. And at some point, I really do kind of feel like we need to get Kurt involved in one of these. He's been like one of our biggest boosters in the last few weeks. We got to find something that he would really want to talk about. So we've got some stuff going on here, and definitely we gotta have you back again, Nick. And, maybe in 5 episodes or so, whenever we talk about Toy Story 3.
Oh, I would come back.
Okay, just give me a warning.
I think we will have to have you back for Finding Dory, though.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, and you can check out Finding Nemo on Disney Plus. Again, I think we haven't broken our Disney Plus streak yet, have we, this year, Mike? Have we? Every movie we've talked about in 2021 has been a Disney Plus show or movie, I believe.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
I think it is.
I think so, too.
Well, let's keep that going.
We're going to have to, because that's the only thing that worth a damn right now. Name it, and I'm coming over.
Challenge accepted, Thomas.
All right, we got to get him in on something. Maybe we'll bring him. No, actually, I don't know. Bring him or Duaz in for Cars. Oof. No, I want to bring Duaz in for The Good Dinosaur.
That's right. I will have to watch that one, won't I?
Yeah, you will. Have fun. Drink a lot of coffee. Stay caffeinated, my friend. I'll be down for something awesome, Kurt. Yeah, we will definitely get you in on something. We'll find something soon. And what's interesting too is that we've got our Disney April coming up very soon. God, it's coming up sooner rather than I thought. And we might as well just stay on this Pixar train because it's all Disney.
I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool to kind of like for 4 months do something Disney that's not Pixar. I've got some ideas. I'll talk to you about them.
You please let me know.
That is where the good stuff is, right there.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny because like there is decent stuff on other channels, but I find that if I'm watching stuff right now on streaming, I'm kind of rewatching stuff that I've already watched. We're already kind of like halfway through our second rewatch of Schitt's Creek on Netflix, and it's like I want something else. I just saw, however, that The Nick is on HBO Max, and if you haven't watched that, and you like timey medical dramas, like turn of the 20th century medical dramas.
Turn of the 20s. Is that like 1900?
It is like 19. It is like 1901.
Yeah, I'm busy. I'm too busy watching Star vs. the Force of Evil right now.
Okay.
Fun show.
Yeah. Oh, I know it's a fun show. I'm also, by the way, watching Jazz on PBS. I'm finally getting around to watching that documentary. Oh man, it's good. And fortunately, I was actually able to discuss this. You said it before I could type it, Andy. About Jazz or about the Nick? Either way,
but the documentary about jazz, the music
about jazz. But Nick, when you and I were talking about Cruella, the trailer for Cruella, and I'm just like, I brought up, there's no way she's not dancing with Mr. Brownstone. And you talk like, yeah, she's definitely riding on a white horse. And my wife's like, aren't you cute? You watch the Jazz documentary. Now you know all the terms for heroin.
Well,
Charlie Parker was a strung out genius. What's that?
I feel like that was a perfect segue. You were talking about jazz, and now we have Emma Stone. We're talking about Emma Stone, and her and Ryan Gosling like pretty much made jazz come back. So
yeah, they did, exactly. Jazz was completely dead until they brought it back in the movie that beat out the Moana song. Do as in Good Dinosaur. My comments seem to be slow. Yeah, oh no, definitely. We're bringing him in. And I don't know if Alex is much of a drinker, but I kind of want to liquor him up. But, he's 1,000 miles away, so I don't really know how much. That might be tough.
So anyway,
yes, let's wrap this up because now we've officially gone off. We're out of the tank at this point. Rolling in our bags across the street. Which, by the way, brilliant ending to this movie is getting them to finally escape, having a plan of getting out of the bag. Just kiss, brilliant. So, Nick, tell us, where can we find you?
So you can find Black Girls Do Stuff 2 anywhere you listen to podcasts, and that's just exactly as it sounds, Black Girls Do Stuff 2. On Twitter, where we're most active, we're BLK Girls Do Stuff, and everywhere else, we're Black Girls Do Stuff 2. And if you want to check out me or my food stuff, I am Lizzie Angel everywhere, and that's lizzieangel.com.
Awesome. And I will post those in our show description as well, so you can go follow her. And following her on Twitter gets you the entire keys to the kingdom for Black Girls Do Stuff. It is a phenomenal podcast. Thank you for coming back. I know you guys took that little break. So happy to have you back. And Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. We are available in all the same places that you can get Black Girls Do Stuff too. We are most here as well at Geek Salad Radio, but we're also on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. You can also check out our wares at the T Public Store. Geek Salad Podcast is the keyword that you're going to use there. Check out our podcast because we are right now in the middle of our 2-part Music of 1991 episode. Last week we released the singles of 1991 where we tore into Marky Mark like we live in Massachusetts, which we do. And then coming in Friday, we've got our albums of 1991, which is kind of the more invested conversation because we have more to do with that. You can also check me out. I think as plans go right now, Thursday is going to be our next installment here on YouTube for Retro Records, where myself, Todd, Jim, and Joe are going to discuss the 1991 U2 album Achtung Baby.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be a fun discussion. So check us out there, and don't forget, subscribe, please share these videos. Let's just bump up that viewer thing. So maybe one day I can get, Mike and I can get those same little YouTube trophies that they give for people who do home improvement projects that are incompetent.
That's me.
We're doing a lot. No, we're doing a lot of like home improvement like stuff right now. I'm going on YouTube videos, and it's like, hey guys, how you guys doing? So guys, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna look at how to replace a bathroom sink, guys. Okay, it's like, how many times has she said guys?
This is a hammer.
Oh god,
it's me because that sounds like my video intro. Like, hey guys.
Every Disney tourist video that we watch is like, hey guys.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys.
Well, to be fair, I do say hey y'all instead of guys.
You know what? That is like the big thing I took away from living down south was y'all. It is a way easier mode of transportation for describing a whole bunch of people at once.
Because it's y'all and then it's all y'all. So it just really depends on who you're talking to.
And when you're in the Midwest, you get to use that, and it's yours, and you can claim that, Nick. And I'm so happy for you. Yay! Yay! So anyway, don't forget, leave a comment below. Please keep it civil. We like the civil stuff. We don't want to have to block you. Give us a big thumbs up as well. Subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And until Nick, thanks again. We really appreciate it. And until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth, be nerdful, and swim away.